foundation of public education. If you attend an Ivy League or comparable private university, you would have to work 136 hours a week all year to be able to afford it without debt. When SDSU student Ashley Wardle was arrested for protesting fee hikes at the chancellor's meeting, she was also given academic sanctions that the administrators dropped because students protested, called in, and wrote letters and emails.
Yeah!
Students protest because we do have a collective voice. We do not have to sit idly by, grumble to ourselves, and resign to a feeling of powerlessness each semester that tuition rises. Education is an investment in the people, in us. We need to insist that our governments reprioritize the budget and fund public education.
Yeah!
We have some awesome speakers today. Ashley Wardle, the student I just mentioned, is actually going to kick it off. We also have Doreen Mattingly, a women's studies professor and CFA member. That's the California Faculty Association. Charles Toombs, an Africana studies professor. And the CFA SDSU chapter president, Washington representative from METCHA, Professor Tim Weston of the SDSU Philosophy Department. Mirna Cruz, an ACHA representative. Jose, who will be representing the Millionaire's Tax, and Diana Trinidad of the Women's Resource Area.
Yeah!
So without further ado, I'm going to pass this off to Ashley.
Nice job.
It's so... Can I get some sound? Thank you. All right, it's so great to see you all here. I first wanted to start off with a huge thank you for anybody who wrote letters to Chancellor Reed or Dr. Hirschman, President Hirschman, on my behalf. Originally, they were trying to come down and suspend me for 2 years from school, but because people said that's ludicrous and stood up, they reduced it to 5 hours of community service, which is what I'm doing right now.
Yeah!
I know. Today is about taking action and getting involved in our own education. So we've set up multiple things for you to get involved in, which is what I wanted to talk about. So while this rally is going on, you can head to the back or you can head to the front and do a number of different things to tell politicians you oppose their tuition increases and budget cuts. So up in the front here, there's a letter writing station to President Hirschman, to Chancellor Reed, and to Jerry Brown. That's a chance for you to tell them how these budget cuts affect you. So if you want to make your way up there or back there, you can cuss, you can do whatever. Let them know that you're fucking pissed.
Yeah!
Also, the Millionaire's Tax is a really good option for funding education. It's going to increase our the budget for California by $6 to $9 billion a year, and that money is allocated to education. So a lot of people are trying really hard to make sure this doesn't go through, and they're all millionaires. So if you want them to pay for your education instead of these 9% tuition hikes every year, please sign the Millionaire's Tax Initiative. And take control of your own education. That's what we're here for. You have control. The students are the university. Whose university?
Our university!
Whose university?
Our university!
That's right. So next, Doreen Mattingly is going to talk. She's from the Women's Studies Department. She's an activist. She's a union member, and she's awesome.
Okay, so it is great to see all of you out today. You know, San Diego State has a long history of being a passive campus, and I am really happy to see that you are changing that history today by coming out here and coming together to do something. So congratulations to you. I was recently on a plane and I struck up a conversation with a guy who was a lawyer, and he found out what I did, and he said, yeah, I've got 2 daughters in college. And he said, I think of them as the lost generation, this group of young people. They're paying so much for education that's of such poor quality, and they're going on into a world where there aren't very many jobs for them. And they're not doing anything about it. It's like they are just too afraid to stand up. And I thought a lot about that conversation. And I can't tell you how much it means to me to see you here today, because nobody can fight for your education except for you. Nobody can. You know, we would if we could, but we're fighting for our own jobs. The quality of education and what it means to you, there is nobody who can fight for it but you, and you're fighting for yourself, and you're fighting for all those kids in high school and junior high who need a university to go to. You are the future, girl. You are, and you are a generation.
University, not a private one.
Yes, a public university. California was made great by high quality, affordable, higher education. I'm from a working class background. I got to go to school on Cal grants. I got to go to Berkeley, which my parents could never have paid for, on Cal grants. And that's why I'm able to be a professor today. And that's what you deserve. That's the legacy of California. If you're not educated, there is no future for California. You are the future of California and the country. And people need to know that. And really, you need to tell them. You are a generation being called upon to take a stand. And maybe that's a good thing, and maybe it's a bad thing, but it is the way it is. You know, nobody can fight but you for what is being taken away from you. And what is being done to you is wrong. It's a shame, and people need to be shamed for what they're doing to you. Education is a right. Keep fighting.
Our next speaker is Dr. Charles Toombs, President of the California Faculty Association at SDSU.
First of all, I want to say thank you. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? First of all, I want to give a big thanks to the March 1 Planning Committee. These students work like professionals. I mean, they organized, they met. I am so proud of their efforts. And look at the turnout we have today. It is wonderful. I really want to say that this is a public institution, and public education in California must be affordable, it must be accessible, and you cannot graduate in debt the way so many of you are going to be doing. In addition, you have a voice. In my classes in Africana Studies, I talk about black people and the voice that they have had to use to change their condition in the world. Now who do you get to listen to your voice? You need to write letters to the legislature. You need to have your families write letters to the legislature. You need to call the legislature, and you need to let them know that you are tired of them increasing your fees every time they have not budgeted the state of California right. In addition, we are largely moving to a university where you're not going to be able to afford to come here. We also are using a for-profit model, which has nothing to do with the master plan for the CSU system. And if you don't raise your voices, as Doreen Mattingly said, faculty and staff can only do so much to put your issues out there. You are the ones that have to speak, and you have to speak loud on every occasion that you can.
Yeah!
And one thing I have learned when I visit the legislature is that your assembly members and your state senators will listen when you write letters to them. I didn't know that. I thought they, here's a letter, we'll throw it away. But it actually means a great deal. And go to the legislators that are in the districts that you live in. Because if they're going to be re-elected, they're going to need your support, the support of your families, and let them know that you don't like the way that they are legislating higher education in California. And just one other statement. do not let this be the last time that you assemble. Let this be the beginning of a much larger movement. Because you know, all of you, all of us, we are the 99, and we are the ones that should make the decisions about our future.
Yeah!
Thanks a lot, that's all. You know, if you're in my class, you know I can talk too much, so I'm gonna keep it short. You can talk to the legislator.
Do they have to be political science majors?
No. Write a letter. Do a phone call.
What do they need to say?
Say that we need for you to, first of all, talk to the Board of Trustees and tell them they need to rescind that 9% fee increase. That might be something. But at any rate, you can talk to the legislature. It's easy to find out. You're all technically savvy to get your assembly member's name, write the letter, and say, we want you to give us a budget that truly funds public education, both K through higher ed.
Yeah!
Whose education?
Our education!
Yeah, and just to remind everybody, we will be having an open mic after this to speak out. So stick around for that. We have our next speaker is Washington Navarrete. Very active member of ACHA. Or, I'm sorry, MECHA.
My name is Washington Navarrete. I'm the chair of MECHA at SDSU. The unity clap we just did was created when our Chicana, Chicano, and Filipino brothers and sisters were out working in the fields and faced oppression. Because of the language barrier, the unity clap was formed. This clap not only represents the rhythm of our heartbeats, but as it speeds up, it becomes one collective clap in resistance to oppression. Today, as students, we're also in resistance to our educational system that is under constant attacks. With these attacks, we also see that ethnic studies are taking major hits. Within our institutions, we see the first departments under attack are ethnic study departments here at San Diego State University. Within our own institution, we see the push for ethnic studies to be placed under one umbrella department. The university is doing so without acknowledging the purpose, our story, and the power behind each department. As Jose Vasconcelos once said, at this moment, we do not come to work for the university, but demand that the university work for our people. This statement stands relevant to our situation. We will not and shall not let the university cut our stories out of this institution. Students of color like me and many others fought to bring these departments onto our campus. With these departments come our stories. As machistas, we understand that our books are bullets and our words are weapons, and today we come armed. We come armed with the understanding that this university belongs to us, the students, and we're willing to fight for our education. With that said, we demand that the university maintain funding for all ethnic studies departments, including both women's studies and LGBT studies. We also demand that all departments be respected for the rich art story and be kept autonomous from any umbrella department. Whose university?
Our university!
Whose university? Our university! Thank you, everyone.
All right, so our next speaker is Professor Weston, Tim Weston. Also, real quick, if you want to get involved, this is the banner to look for. It says Reclaim Education. We'll be right up there at the top of the hill.
right up there. If you like what's happening today and you want to see more of it, come find this banner and sign up with us. Give us your email address. Let's organize and fight back.
Hello? Yeah. Hi. My name is Tom West. I'm in the philosophy department. And of course, what we do in the philosophy department is we have arguments. So I have an argument for you today. I have a thesis that I think is important for the movement which we're taking part in here. And my thesis is that the education crisis in the U.S. is part of a crisis of U.S. capitalism, and that we need to be aware of that in order to figure out the best way in which we can move forward. That is, this education crisis is partly a result of the wars that the United States has spent tremendous amount of money on and is planning to continue to do that, and partly the result of the economic crisis that began in 2008, a crisis which economists told us could never happen because the system is stable and prosperous. The spending on war, you can say, well, gee, that's